You know, there's something about Jerry Jones that always makes headlines whether you love it or hate it. And if you're a Cowboys fan, chances are you've gotten used to seeing Jerry front and center, almost as much as the team itself. But lately, the criticism is getting louder, not just from frustrated fans, but now from respected voices across the league and national media. The Washington Post dropped a piece that basically put it all out there saying that under Jerry, the Dallas Cowboys have become more of a reality show than a football powerhouse. That's a bold statement, but when you stop and think about it, is it really that far off? The glitz, the hype, the over-the-top press conferences, Jerry knows how to put on a show. He built AT&T Stadium into a billion-dollar football cathedral, complete with its own tourism economy. He holds court like a king at training camp, media swarming him like he's the star quarterback. But here's the real issue: it's all flash and not nearly enough follow through when it comes to building a team that wins when it matters. The Cowboys have had talent. They've had top 5 rosters, and yet the postseason results keep falling short. Critics are saying it's not bad luck, it's a distraction problem. And Jerry? Well, he might be the biggest one. Now, let's be real, Jerry's influence isn't new. He's been the face of this franchise for decades. But the way he operates today, with cameras always around, throwing bold quotes to the press, even hyping up Micah Parsons' negotiations in ways that backfire, it's starting to look more like brand building than football leadership. And if you're trying to win a Super Bowl, that kind of spotlight can cast a shadow over the people actually doing the work. What do you think? Has Jerry's persona become more of a liability than an asset? Drop your take in the comments, and while you're at it, hit that subscribe button. We're pushing hard to hit 16,000 subscribers, and every fan makes a difference. Especially if you've ever rolled your eyes at a Jerry being Jerry moment. You know the type I'm talking about. Now stick around, because next up, we're diving into how all that showbiz energy spills over into how Jerry handles the team's money, and why some rival execs are calling it reckless. Alright, let's get into it, because when it comes to the Cowboys and money, Jerry Jones doesn't exactly do subtle. He spends big, always has, whether it's locking in Dak Prescott to a massive deal, teasing a record-setting payday for Micah Parsons, or throwing cash at skill players to keep the star power alive. Jerry isn't afraid to open the checkbook. But according to that same Washington Post article, the way Jerry uses the Cowboys' financial muscle might be doing more harm than good. Here's the core of the criticism. Rival general managers say Dallas pays stars, not systems. They chase names, not balance. And because of that, they end up with a roster that looks shiny on paper but has serious holes where it matters most. Think about it. While the offense is loaded with talent at wide receiver, quarterback, and edge rushers, the team has lagged behind in building depth on the offensive line or in addressing the run defense to areas where money, scouting, and patience usually pay off long-term. Instead, we get splashy moves and big headlines, but not the foundation you need when it's 3rd and 2 in a playoff game in January. And what makes this even more complicated is how Jerry handles negotiations publicly. He talks about players' contracts in the media like they're marketing deals. He teases fans with promises of huge signings before anything is locked in, which only ramps up pressure and sometimes leads to inflated payouts. The Washington Post pointed out how this affects locker room culture, where some players are elevated into stardom before they've truly delivered under pressure. That creates a weird dynamic. It's not just about rewarding production, it's about keeping the brand hot. And when the brand is hotter than the record, that's a problem. Look, I'm not saying players don't deserve to get paid. But let's be honest, have the Cowboys gotten fair returns on all of Jerry's big-ticket deals? You tell me in the comments, which contract do you think hurt the team most? Zeke's, Dak's, maybe someone else? And if you agree that big money doesn't always mean big wins, hit that like button. It helps push this video to more fans who are just as fed up with flash over function. Up next, we're talking about the coaching staff, because the spending imbalance doesn't stop with the roster. It's also about who's calling the shots from the sideline and whether they're equipped for this job or just another piece of the Jerry Jones spectacle. Now, let's talk coaching, because if the Cowboys' money moves have been flashy but flawed, the coaching situation under Jerry's watch feels like another layer of complexity, and some would say dysfunction. The Washington Post digs into this, highlighting how the Cowboys hired Brian Schottenheimer as head coach, a first-time NFL head coach who comes with plenty of questions about his experience and fit. The bigger picture, this hire, along with other staff decisions, seems to reflect a pattern where decisions feel more like experiments than calculated moves aimed at winning championships. Jerry's reputation as the guy who calls the shots, literally owning the team and involved in every major decision, means coaching hires carry his fingerprints, but critics argue that the staff is underpaid and underexperienced, especially given the talent on the roster. For a team with Super Bowl ambitions, settling for a rookie head coach with limited NFL success raises eyebrows. Is it a cost-saving move, a gamble on fresh ideas, or just another way Jerry maintains tight control? The article suggests it's all of the above, and that uncertainty trickles down into the locker room culture. Culture, in fact, might be the biggest concern here. It's not just about X's and O's, but about how the team functions as a unit. When contract drama, media distractions, and leadership questions pile up, it's tough to build a cohesive culture. Some insiders feel the Cowboys have a win-now mentality that clashes with the reality of roster gaps and coaching growing pains. That tension affects everything: practice habits, player buy-in, and ultimately performance on game day. So here's a question for you. Do you trust Brian Schottenheimer with this roster? Do you think Jerry should let the coaches have more freedom, or should he keep hands-on control? Drop your vote yes or no in the comments below. And if you're as invested in the Cowboys as I am, don't forget to subscribe and ring that notification bell. You won't want to miss what's coming next, because up next we're diving into the real-world effects of all this: the run game struggles and defensive woes that are harder to hide when the cameras aren't rolling. Stick with me. Let's get real about what's happening on the field, because all the hype and big contracts don't mean much if the Cowboys can't run the football or stop opponents from running on them. The Washington Post doesn't hold back. It points out just how bad Dallas was in 2024 when it comes to the run game, both offensively and defensively. In fact, they finished dead last in several brutal categories: yards before contact allowed on defense, rushing touchdowns given up, and yards per carry allowed. That's a recipe for disaster when it matters most. Think about it. When your run defense is that porous, opponents don't need to do much fancy stuff. They just pound the ball, chew up the clock, and wear your defense down. Meanwhile, the Cowboys' own rushing attack struggled to get going consistently. The offense can sometimes light up the scoreboard through the air, but without a reliable run game, the whole offense feels one-dimensional. And in the playoffs, one-dimensional just doesn't cut it. What's more, the Parsons contract saga added fuel to the fire, with Jerry's public comments stirring controversy and bringing unnecessary distractions. When your star linebacker's contract drama becomes a media circus, it takes focus away from football. And fans are starting to ask, how much longer can this kind of off-field noise be tolerated? So let me ask you, which of these issues bugs you more, the inability to run the ball or the leaky run defense? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm curious where the fan base stands. And if you want to see more videos that break down what's really going wrong and what could be fixed, go ahead and like the video. Every like tells YouTube this content matters to Cowboys fans. Coming up next is the big question: what's the future for Dallas? Can they break out of this cycle, or is the Jerry Jones era forever tied to these distractions and disappointments? Don't go anywhere. So, here we are looking ahead. After everything we've talked about, the big question is, what's next for the Dallas Cowboys? Can this team evolve past the spotlight distractions, the uneven roster building, and the coaching questions? Or is this just the way it's going to be as long as Jerry Jones is in charge? The Washington Post paints a picture of a franchise stuck in a loop. Critics say Jerry has built a brand that's hard to separate from the man himself: his style, his media presence, even his management approach. For some fans, that's part of the charm, the identity of the Cowboys. For others, it feels like a ceiling, like no matter how talented the players are, the distractions and decisions hold the team back from true playoff success. As we look toward the 2025 season, the pressure is on. Fans are hungry for a breakthrough, but there's skepticism about whether the Cowboys can get out of their own way. The question isn't just about talent, it's about leadership, culture, and whether Jerry is willing to shift gears, or if the franchise will continue to revolve around his larger-than-life presence. I want to hear from you. Do you still believe Dallas can break through under Jerry's leadership? Or do you think it's time for a new voice in the front office? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you want more honest, no-fluff Cowboys content, be sure to subscribe and ring that notification bell. We're building a community of real fans who want the best for this team.